Hello, hello! Welcome back to Brenda's Books. This is Season 2, Episode 2, where I will be narrating for you a future love story titled Sara's War. Here is Chapter 2, Sniggers and Scars. I plop my suitcase on the floor of my private quarters. I stumble toward my bed and slip underneath the deep blue comforter. I close my eyes. Sleep at last. When I wake up, I feel almost entirely rejuvenated. Love power naps, I say aloud. I peer around the small rectangular-shaped room. The walls are a bright white and glaring with the sun pouring through the small square window. A window! I cry. I sit up in bed as my mouth splits into a grin. Well, it's tiny and rusty, but it does brighten up the place. I glance over to the single bed on the opposite side of the room. It's made up with a soft turquoise comforter heaving over its sides. A few pictures of a man and a woman are placed on top of a tall pine dresser, along with a basket full of bath accessories. Now that I see them, I can smell their strong fragrances, lavender and lemon. Interesting combination. I have an identical pine dresser at the foot of my bed, and we both have a small nightstand as well. My roommate has a small old-fashioned army clock, along with a miniature GPS. I'm surprised she left that in sight. Things like that get stolen first. I reach over to my suitcase, which is lying open on the floor next to my bed, and pick up my own clock that ticks in military time and place it on my nightstand. I peer around some more and leap to my feet to the side in front of me. It's a bathroom right here before my very eyes. It has a shower and a flush toilet and everything. How long has it been since I've had luxuries like these? A year? Yes, almost a year. Adjacent to the bathroom is a complete mess of torn-out cupboards and exposed drywall. Before I can examine it further, the door opens, and in walks a woman in uniform. "Hi, you must be Private Andrews," she says with a warm smile as she shuts the door behind her. "That's right," I tell her. She reaches her hand out to shake mine and walks toward me. I meet her halfway and we clasp our hands together. She has a nice, firm grip. "I'm Chief Warrant Officer Oxford, but I prefer Lexi." She grins. "Welcome to Big Rock." "Thanks," I grin back at her. "You can call me Sara." Sara it is. It doesn't take me long to examine Lexi's appearance. There is nothing subtle about it. Although she's about my height of 5'6", her looks differ from mine in every other respect. She has short dark hair styled into long spikes. Her eyes are a deep brown, and her skin is as white as powdered foundation can be, and she is wearing a lot of it. Subconsciously, I wonder how she gets away with that. But most of all, she looks strong, as if she has gone through boot camp 5 times. Her biceps bulge out of her tight uniform, and her shoulders seem to scream, "I'm tough, don't mess with me." Yet her countenance doesn't appear to want to beat up the world, like most strong women I have met. "Hey, not that I mind, but I thought I would be rooming with another private," I admit. "Oh, well, you're the new medic, right?" I nod. "Housing thought it would be best to have you close to where you will be working. Relief is just at the bottom of the stairwell," she says, motioning behind her with her head. "Relief?" I question. "That's what they call the Army base hospital here. / clinic." "Ah, I see. We share it with the Navy, too," she says. I raise my eyebrows in surprise. "Yep. Well, you know about the attacks that happened at sea 3 months ago, right?" I nod, grimacing. "Near Hawaii and Sri Lanka." Lexi nods too. "Anyway, to make a long story short, the Navy is out of a lot of men and a lot of money. So since they are close by anyway," she throws a hand up in the air, "we share the hospital / clinic." I shrug and smile. Whatever works. Lexi's grin turns mischievous. What I like best about it is that General Granger is going nuts working with them. He is so used to being the know-it-all, and this Navy stuff is way out of his league. I grin back but say nothing. "So, what do you think of our place? Lexi asks. It's a little better than a prison cell, don't you think? I laugh at that. Well, last time I was in prison, I didn't have this amazing window to look out of. Nor did I have this incredible 4-foot block of space, I say, gesturing with both hands toward the cupboards. What should we call this room? A kitchen? Lexi throws her head back and laughs. A kitchen would imply a means for cooking. We better call it the dining room. I chuckle. I'm especially fond of this structure. It's very, I knock on the table in the center. Metal? Lexi laughs again. Wooden tables are too easy to steal, you know. So our brilliant welders painted ours to look like an easy target. Now I'm the one laughing. Why would a wooden table need to be stolen? Don't our fellow inmates have such a luxury item? Now we're both laughing. How good it feels to be conversing about nonsense. After a long minute, I let out a slow sigh. Do bandits really come to army bases, too? I ask. Lexi shrugs. Well, obviously, they did this damage, she says, motioning to the space in front of us. Madness is everywhere, isn't it? Lexi sniffs. You got that right. But I sure gave them a run for their money when they came. I knocked 2 of them out cold. I raise my eyebrows in dismay. You were here? Lexi nods. The lunatic stole all my food storage. I grimace. I'm sorry. The aching feeling of hunger and fatigue while in country is still fresh in my memory. Lexi doesn't respond and looks out the window. So, where does one get food around here, I ask? I'm kind of starving. Didn't Captain Taryn tell you? No. The only instructions I received were to get myself acquainted with the base and report at 1300 hours. Of course. Never mind you just had a long flight. Tell you what, I'll show you around the base and we can get lunch together. It'll be thrilling. The mess hall is full of choices, Lexi says, her voice thick with sarcasm. I smile wide. I have the feeling Lexi and I are going to get along just fine. You're pretty great, Lexi. Thanks. Lexi waves her arm as if batting away the compliment. That's what they all say. And then she pauses. Did you really go to prison? I laugh out loud, shaking my head. Lexi laughs too, looking a little sheepish. Our first stop of Lexi's tour is at the aircrafts. Lexi hops inside one of them as if she owns it. I stare at her in confusion. Come on, she yells, putting on her seatbelt. I climb in the co-pilot seat next to her. Is this your chopper? I ask, my voice draining out as she starts the engine. Yep. I thought this would be the easiest way to show you around. My roommate is a pilot. It can't get any better than this. Lexi flips switches up and down. Big Rock ground, this is Kiowa Bravo Mike Oscar, requesting takeoff clearance, Lexi says into the aircraft radio. Bravo Mike Oscar, takeoff approved, replies an unseen female voice. What does all that jargon mean? I ask Lexi. Bravo Mike Oscar is the NATO phonetics for BMO, my identification. They're my husband's initials, actually. And Kiowa is the type of helicopter we're in. Oh, I see. The aircraft lifts off the ground with its engine roaring and its propellers spinning into a blur. We might get interrupted by the controller from time to time, says Lexi. The what? The radio. Oh, that's fine. I begin to watch the ground get smaller and smaller as the agile chopper propels higher and higher into the sky. We're ascending at such an incredible speed that I feel like my lungs have escaped my body completely. What a sensation! I laugh out loud as Lexi spins us in a 360. Lexi laughs too, probably at me. I glance down at the army base, which now looks like dozens of gray demountable buildings, some large and long, some small and square. I notice how the overall structure of the base is amazingly organized, as all the buildings together make one large circle around the combat training field. Lexi scoops down a little lower in the sky and points out the different facilities she thinks I might need to know. The arsenals, the depot, the barracks, the mess hall, relief, and the training and conditioning rooms. She also shows me the 2 institutions on the base, as well as the 2 laboratories. The institutions are hardly functioning, though, Lexi explains. Almost everyone who has studied there has been drafted. I half smile at that. But the laboratories are pretty busy with all the new technology they're working on, Lexi continues. That doesn't surprise me, I admit. I would love to go see the laboratories sometime. Lexi glances in my direction and smiles. You've spoken like a true med, she says. I smile in return. Have we seen it all now? I ask. Lexi nods. It only took us 20 minutes. Do you want to go see the Navy boats? I'm up for that. Lexi spins the helicopter in the opposite direction, and we're now flying over a narrow dirt road lined with acres of trees on either side. Bravo Mike Oscar, traffic your 2 o'clock, Cessna Skyhawk, 5 miles, southbound, 5,100 feet. Bravo Mike Oscar, traffic in sight, Lexi says to the invisible radio voice. So how long have you been in the Army, Lexi? I wonder. 8 years, she replies. I joined when I was 20. How long have you been a medic? She asks. 8 hours, I say with a smile. And I was drafted a year ago. Ah, what were you doing before the Army? Medical school. No way! Lexi turns to look at me and then straight ahead again. Oh, that's great! Now we will finally have a medic with a brain. The last one was lacking that, I ask, immediately wishing I hadn't in case something tragic had happened to the previous medic. Well, she couldn't really use it since she was so depressed, Lexi says. Shoot. Definitely should not have asked. I'm sorry, I mumble, squinting out the window. Lexi chuckles once without humor. It's okay. Honestly, we were sort of happy to be rid of her. I twist my mouth, not quite sure what to make of that. I already feel a little defensive for the poor girl. You know, it's pretty easy to get depressed when you're around dying people all the time, I point out. I know, Lexi says softly. Suddenly, the sound of the propellers seemed louder than ever. I wish the invisible radio voice would say something else to fill the new awkward silence. Well, Lexi says in a forced cheerful tone, I'm surprised they let you in the Army at all. You look like you would make it better as a movie star or a model or something. She grins as she sneaks a glance in my direction. I can't help but laugh. I'm serious. That long blonde hair, blue eyes, tan skin. How do you get away with long hair anyway? And how did you get so tan? My hair is only shoulder length, you know, I say, stating the obvious and avoiding her questions. How do you get away with it? I sigh. My hair was cut short when I first went in country. And then amid the chaos of stitching people up, nobody really noticed or cared that my hair was growing. I always kept it back anyway. And I'm tan because I literally have not been inside a building for a year. Well, you definitely look like movie star material. Her smile widens as she glances at me openly now, measuring my reaction. Sure, along with my rough hands, battle scars, and 3 pairs of clothes. Definitely movie star material. I'll call up good old extinct Hollywood. Maybe they will take me in. Ha! I have not seen 1 battle scar on you. Where do you keep them hiding? I turn my palms over and put them out in front of her to show the hundreds of old cuts evident there. Just to name a few, I say. Then I pull up my sleeve to my shoulder. Now look at this baby. It has to be 2 inches long. That's just a scratch, Lexi says. Well, I haven't seen a single battle scar on you either. Lexi pulls up the side of her shirt, exposing her ribs. I gasp out loud. There in front of me is a solid white scar that covers Lexi's entire right side and most of her stomach. I can see right away that this scar is from a 3rd-degree burn, but had not been treated properly, or promptly anyway. Skin grafts are still available, aren't they? Maybe not. How do you think I get away with wearing so much makeup? Lexi asks. My face isn't as bad as my stomach, but people still have a hard time looking at me. I cock my head. Oh, come on, I say, trying to sound sympathetic. Lexi shrugs. It's true. And you can see some scars here, too, she says, putting her chin up and running her fingers down her neck. When I look closely, I am able to see more subtle scars spotting her neck with a different texture. I want to know what happened, but I'm afraid to ask. I blow out a slow gush of air. I clear my throat. I have no idea what to say, but I'm so sorry. It happened in Liechtenstein, she says. I stare at her in utter shock. You were one of the 300 hostages? Lexi nods, then shrugs. I shudder, not wanting to believe or hear this. Liechtenstein. What a curse word that is. The tiny country that in fiscal desperation tried to reclaim the debt two countries owed them, which started the ripple effect of country after country calling in debts while unable to pay their own. The country that catalyzed a worldwide economic depression, and as an end result, a worldwide war, with violent terrorists roaming my childhood neighborhood. Yes, it was Liechtenstein that shattered my life. My husband was killed, Lexi says, looking out her side window. Mine too, I whisper. And that concludes Chapter 2. I hope you come back next week to hear Chapter 3, which is called Mr. Evil. If you want to find out more about Brenda's books, you can visit brendasbooks.net. Until next time, take care.